scaremongering weather stories. Unfortunately, some newspapers write lots of them, talking about imminent cold snaps, heat waves, hurricanes on the way, or the worst winter since, well, whenever. A lot of it is just total rubbish. Here's my guide on how to spot the kind of weather story that really should be ignored. Predictions like this, talking about one type of weather lasting for months on end, are almost always nonsense. That's just not how weather works in the UK. It's statistically very unlikely for any weather pattern to continue for months without changing. And whilst it's sometimes possible for meteorologists to make general trend predictions months in advance, these long-term forecasts are highly uncertain. It's very unlikely that a proper meteorologist would try to say in detail in autumn what will happen through the whole of winter. That's why forecasters usually stick to talking about the next few days, because the further ahead you look, the more the level of accuracy falls. Professionals tend to rely on the Met Office or other leading providers of weather information who have proven records of accuracy, but newspapers looking for a shocking headline often use sources who are much less trustworthy. It's worth checking the story to see who is making the prediction. If it's someone with no qualifications or credentials, the story is probably junk. Sometimes even a few seconds of Googling will tell you whether the source can be trusted. And it doesn't help that newspapers sometimes just copy each other's stories, so one dubious claim gets repeated. This doesn't mean that forecasters like me always get it right. It's impossible to be 100% accurate. But if an organisation like the Met Office, with its meteorologists, network of weather stations and powerful supercomputers, can't get the weather right all of the time, what are the chances of an amateur with no qualifications doing a better job? The headline writers have a lot of tricks up their sleeve when it comes to making weather events sound as scary as possible. Noticing anything here? The high temperatures are all given in Fahrenheit to make the number bigger, while cold temperatures are always in Celsius to make the number as low as possible. If there's a temperature or wind speed in a headline, it's a safe bet that this is the most extreme reading the journalist could find, and not representative of what almost all people will experience. Sneakiest of all, some unscrupulous writers have a habit of giving the ground temperature, not the air temperature. During some times of the year, the ground temperature can be 10 to 15 degrees higher than the air temperature, which makes using this figure very misleading.
Oh no.
Besides, it's the air temperature most of us feel, and that's the standard value quoted in weather forecasts. You might think this is all a bit of fun and no one gets hurt. After all, it's only the weather, but we know people's behaviour changes when they read weather reports. What if there's a false story doing the rounds about bad weather in Britain and everyone cancels their summer holidays here? Tourism and the economy would take a hit. And weather can be a matter of life and death, even in the UK. Extreme weather events can be deadly, and people need accurate information. Junk weather stories undermine people's faith in forecasters and makes my job more difficult. So I'm going to carry on calling out these stories, and if you spot any bad